Hey guys, here we are with our gear for the month of August. Semogue Owners Club with the Taj handle, boar brush. In about 10 uses, he's going to be my most used boar brush. And that was my intention, one of my goals with this month was to put some good number of uses on this brush. This razor, the special edition for the Fatip open comb. It has the open comb base plate. This one, this SE does come with a solid bar as well. Piccolo handle, it's kind of thin-ish, but it's very stout. It's got a lot of weight to it because it is solid. The brass core there is solid brass. The Nacet we're still working with. This one has 300 dots on it, and so I had to bleed over onto this pad here. And so we're looking at, okay, 329 is the number for today's shave, for today's blade use count. And Vetiver from Martin de Candre. Got some good data for us today about the usage. And this is usage that has been measured over about 13 days. So that's the sampling size, and that's a reasonable sampling size, I think. And since today is the 27th, 27th, we've got a few more days to tack on to that to get even better reliability for the data. So I wrote everything down, and so this is a 13-day sample size because that's when I last measured while I was in the 12 to 13 swirl range, which is starting to get to approach the kind of optimum load while having a conservation mindset, but still wanting a good, nice lather. And so that was 13 days ago. And so if you look at the weights, we're looking at 0.31 grams per shave. So a little bit less than a third of a gram per shave. That translates out to 21.6 months of shaves. So 21 and a half months of shaves if you use it at that rate. Pretty cool, right? That would be 649 uses, and the cost of obtaining that soap, we're saying about $70. If you are bringing it from France to the United States, half of that cost is a tub of the soap, other half is the shipping. It's just heavy, costs a lot. And so for Americans trying to use this soap and cost it out and things like that, then it becomes a very inexpensive $3.20 per month for Americans. If you are in the EU and you pay 45 euros for it, then you're a little better. You're looking at about 2 euros per month while you're using this soap. So I think we can say that it's definitely a budget soap. It's not an extravagant, lavish soap just because it costs a lot up front. Because it is concentrated, gives you lots of uses, and that was another of the big reasons why I chose the soap for this. I chose that as a piece of gear for this month. The brush to put some uses on it, the soap to find out what's its longevity. At one point, the average was looking at about 0.5 grams per shave. And as I established more data points, then it got more accurate and it started to lower. All right, well, very cool. That's some of the hard data, and I will do a summary video at the end of the month with the data that I'll put together as a whole. It may happen a little bit later than at the end of the month because I want to do a weight comparison without it having just been shaved with. Because the first time I weighed it, I do have a time a while back where it was pretty dry because it hadn't been used in a while. And so I want to give it a couple of weeks. So maybe I'll do a preliminary findings right at the end of the month, and then I'll wait a month or so and then do a wait there so we can get an identical type of measurement on the front and back ends for just for clarity to see if it changes up anything. I'm weighing it right now with the daily weighings or every other day. I am weighing it right before the shave, before it gets wet. And so that's the consistency there. Okay, so with that said, let's show you the blade. Gillette Nacet. It's got those 3 dots above the S's right there. And we will put it together. Now, I'm going to check for alignment. Needs a little bit of tweaking on that far side. Boop, there we go. Get my face wet. I did discover early on that the MdC does not need to be bloomed or soaked prior to shaving. It like I'm saying, it only takes 10 swirls, 11 swirls to pick up enough soap for 6 passes of lather. Speaking of that, how many swirls are we going to do today? Let's do an identical load from compared to yesterday. We'll do that same 9 swirls because yesterday it was a little skimpy, but we need to do it a couple of times to see if it levels out, see if there's some variation, just so that we can say 9 is always too skimpy or 9 is sometimes too skimpy and sometimes perfect. We need to be able to say that. All sciencey and stuff. Of course, that's going to vary per brush. Right now it's because of this, it's based on this brush right here and my own load pressure. So those are all variables, remember that. Shake out most of the water. Here we go. Surface of the soap, so in case you guys care. All right, so 9. 1. And that was 9. All right. This to the side, and we can start working it. Yesterday's 9 swirls took a little over 2 teaspoons of water, so we'll see what it ends up like today. Kind of itchy today. Oh, you guys are aimed a little high. Let's pause you and realign here. Go ahead and put the whole 2 in there, why not? And just see how it ends up. Hey, the new company I'm working for has free COVID testing, so I'll be able to go in and do that. Probably do that in the next couple of weeks. looking pretty good here. Just make sure we get a nice homogeneous mixture. And that's one good thing about seeking that optimal load, because that means you're also looking at the least amount of mixing time. If you overload, then you have to mix longer to integrate more water into your lather, if you like your lathers as wet as I do. All right, let's give that a shot. Wet my face. You know, here I'm going to try something. I'm going to kind of wipe some of the side lather off the brush and see what happens. Can always go back and get it if I want. Yeah, I'll get some more. It's very funny how this is not puffing up and lathering up. Oh, come on now, I can't afford to lose that much lather. Not nearly as much as the 10 swirl. Okay, now we're starting to get a little bit of kind of excess. Yeah, see, it's starting to kind of drip off now. That's what I was hoping to prevent by getting rid of some of the side lather. Spend a couple minutes working the lather in. Do whatever kind of strokes make you happy. If you like just a painting stroke like this, if you like to really press in on the face, or if you like to keep it right now, I'm doing a very light on the tips kind of stroke. I almost never do that. Or if in the beginning of the process, definitely welcome to get in there and make it splay. Do some scrubbing, circular motions if you want. Now some people really press the brush down either into their lather bowl or on their face, and I think that kind of abuses the brush in a sense. If I've got a boar brush that I've put a lot of time into maturing to the right break-in point, or working through the break-in process to finally get to a place where I'm enjoying all these soft split tips, I don't want to have to do that again. So I'm going to treat my brush with a little bit more kindness than that. And if it's badger as well, those can be overbent. If you press down too hard into the bowl or on your face, definitely seen people do it. All right, Nacet, let's see how you do. A little bit of tugging, no big deal at all. Light touch. Could even switch to an angled approach here, tilting down. The side of the razor that's near my chin is tilted down more than the other side. And when that is done with the grain kind of motion, no harm in that at all. No, it's not more aggressive, you know. This leather's not feeling super slick Who knows, maybe it needs a little bit of water. Definitely don't want to shave an area that hasn't been re-lathered. And let's rinse. All right. Kind of plunge the brush since it was fairly emptied from that first pass. I'm going to plunge it down into the bowl to kind of fill the middle of the knot with the lather. Ready to go. Doesn't take much. When you're not on the first pass, it doesn't take much to just kind of spread the lather on and get going. Careful around your earlobes. We can even take a little touch of amount of lather to hit this rough area right there again. All right. Rinse. And I usually don't do a full rinse. Let's see how much lather we have left over now. Looks like it'll be just right. And probably enough for a touch-up. So 9 swirls could be a good load if you want to shave every day with soap. Because, you know, if you space it out more, you'll probably have to increase your load time a little bit because the soap will have a bigger chance to dry. But if you use it every day, and you're really focused on getting the kind of the most uses out of it that you can, then who knows, maybe 9 swirls. It's either 9 or 10 would be my guess at this point. Be a good way to go. If you don't mind being just a little more wasteful for pennies a month, I'd say go with the higher value, the 10. And the lather that you're able to generate, it's just easier. It doesn't tend to dry out as much on your face in the last lathers. Like this one actually is doing pretty good. Yesterday's got a little too dry. And there we go, nice comfy shave. And like I showed you, we have plenty for me to do another run in my trouble area. Keeping a light touch. And we can even do it again. Especially if you keep a nice light touch. And there we go. How about that? Okay, I showed you how much lather we had left. We did stick with just the 2 teaspoons of water, pretty much identical to what we had yesterday. Matter of fact, I could have put that extra little bit to match yesterday's exactly. I could have put it in the lather and it probably would have been just fine. So that's pretty nice. Able to duplicate yesterday's measurements, but the lather was better on that third pass. This third pass lather was nicer, a little bit more generous, a little bit better behaved, felt better on the face, that sort of thing. It didn't dry out and get tacky as yesterday's did. So maybe I'll try 9 again tomorrow. Make sure, just for confirmation. Then maybe bounce back to 10 for a little luxury before the month ends. Just saw a comment today from Alan, and he was talking about how he sometimes watches shave videos with his little girl. And my little girl is just a few years older than his, apparently. And so I know the joy that comes with hanging out with your little one. And so, hey, hope you guys are doing well. And maybe enjoy playing with the lather at the end of the shave. I just finished rinsing out my bowl, but that's something I like to do, is take that lather, and a lot of times I'll show you guys, the audience and stuff, how it behaves and stuff by moving it and around on my hands. And I wasn't able to do that today because I just kind of cleaned up a little bit too quickly. But Alan, maybe you and your daughter can have some fun with the lather, and I hope you do. But hey, thanks for watching. All right. And back to cleaning up. I think we are doing pretty good. Here is how the brush looks after I sling it out into the sink. And so now we will strop it on the towel. I used to think that the wet-dry cycles is something that was the major part of aging and breaking in a boar brush, getting those tips to split. Because, things do split and crack whenever they dry. And so I'm a big proponent at the time. I was a big proponent of letting the boar brushes sit and dry fully for a day or two before you use them. And that might help you to break them in quicker. But then I talked to somebody who had the same brush I did. He had less uses on it, and his was more broken in, had more splits, that sort of thing. And I think and there was probably some other parts of the conversation that led me to think, you know what, I think maybe just the action, using it, is the best part. And so therefore, if you don't want to, don't do a wet dry cycle. Just use it day after day if you want to. And because besides, the tips are going to dry between uses. You may not necessarily get a full dry in the core, but that's not where you're trying to get splitting to happen. Splitting is going to happen at the tips, and that'll definitely dry in half a day or even less. Very good. Hey, here's a little tip that I learned a few years ago. It's actually a cooking thing. Here's my little chart of data, and we're looking at 2 teaspoons right there. Today is day 27, 9 swirls, 2 teaspoons. That's a lowercase t. In old cooking recipes, if you ever see just a T after a number for the ingredient, then that's a teaspoon. If it's a capital T, it's a tablespoon. I'd never heard that before in my life. And my wife's mom, she used that notation a lot, and apparently it's very common in certain circles, at certain age groups. It's not something that's picked up right away. I don't see it in any of the new cookbooks, new cooking materials, or even the cooking shows haven't really talked about that. Maybe it's just because I haven't watched too many of them. I like the chopped type shows, and like the old Iron Chefs, where it's the Japanese version, but it's English dubbed. I like that one a lot. I like Master Chef and Hell's Kitchen. Those are some of my ones I enjoy. All right. Now, I expect to be traveling tomorrow, and so I'm not going to just hang this guy up to dry. I'm going to set him aside, dry, pat dry, and disassemble the blade in a protective sleeve for travel. All right, there we go, folks. We have got that shave taken care of. Face feels good. Oh, hey, almost forgot. The post-shave balm. Soap Commander Integrity, unscented, menthol-free. One I just happened to pick. Early on, the Vetiver, early on in the month, I was loading for 30 seconds, and the Vetiver scent was very strong. I had another alcohol splash I actually picked out for the month, but the Vetiver was so strong because I was overloading it. And so I put that alcohol splash aside because I didn't want to use it up this month when the Vetiver was going to always take over. Now that I've reduced the Vetiver to a more economic amount, that it doesn't hang around very much after the shave at all. And so it turns out I could have stuck with the splash that I had before. But, well, you know, you learn. You live and you learn. Good quality balm here. Okay, my friends, we are done. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I sure hope that this video has got some good stuff for you to help you in some way. And you guys take care. Have a good night.